Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, small law firm in central Minnesota. How you guys doing? Happy Monday. Welcome to everything. Whew, boy. Let's see. Oh my gosh. All right. Oh boy, we've got well, in a little bit, Joe from Good Lawgic will be joining us, and we will be delving into some pretty ridiculous topics today. Kind of all over the board. There's a whole bunch of shit going on, and we got to cover it, right? We got to talk about it. We got to examine the realities of life or something. Or we can get drunk and laugh at the world, because the world can be pretty stupid on occasion. But yeah, that's how that goes. Oh man, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I did. It was kind of long. But Saturday, it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. I went with Lady Rackets to the Make-A-Wish ball in Minnesota, which we go to every year. It's a really cool event. Make-A-Wish is a fantastic organization. I really like what they do for kids and families. I used to be kind of cynical on them, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, well, dying kid gets like to go to Disneyland before they die. Very stereotypical. But then when you find out what the organization actually does and how a lot of the kids aren't dying. They're just dealing with chronic illnesses or severe illnesses that take a lot of toll on a family. Although the recovery rate on Wish Kids is actually pretty high. It's not just the dying kid organization, although some of them, of course, do unfortunately pass away. But it's just a break. It's just a break for these families, and it's really cool to see. And the way they're able to stretch the money by leveraging good connections with various companies, and they don't just send kids to Disney or whatever. They do all sorts of crazy things for these kids. It's really, really cool. And I keep saying these kids. It's really these families, though. They do really crazy things for these families and help them out when they're in like their darkest, most stressed out times of life. And that is just something that's awesome to see. So we got to go do that. The Wish Ball itself raised $950,000 for kids this year, which is for kids' wishes. Each wish costs about $10,000. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of wishes. I think they're currently like 300 Minnesota kids waiting on wishes. And so that slapped out 95 of them, which is good. Can I make a wish in your honor to shut down the federal government? Oh God, I wish. Oh boy. So that was fun. That was fun to go to. Always love getting to spend time with Lady Rackets. And I got to see my parents too, which I don't get to see them too often because they don't live in this state anymore. So it was nice to hang out with them for a little bit. And then, of course, there were some other friends there that I almost never get to see, like once or twice a year, maybe. And that was great. What else is going on? Oh, and then yesterday on Twitch, if you don't know, most Sundays, I do a watch party on Twitch, which we watch a free on Amazon Prime movie because Twitch has integration with Amazon Prime because they're both owned by Amazon, obviously. And it allows you to actually watch. If you have Amazon Prime, I have Amazon Prime, I'm able to stream a movie and you're able to watch that movie with like live commentary from me. So that's fun. We did Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was awesome. Great classic high school coming of age comedy. And then reminding us what the 80s were, where Sean Penn, before being serious and demure or whatever, was Spicoli, the stoner surfer who dropped gamer words in high school. It's good times. Mm. Mm. Thirsty today. Damn. Okay. But yeah, so if you haven't ever checked one of those out, they're kind of fun. Come pop in on Sunday nights, usually around 11:30 to midnight. We start those up and then watch one or two movies. Speaking of watching one or two movies, though, I'd like to welcome to the stream.
Worst transition ever.
Worse than Dylan Mulvaney's?
Just about. I think that was a Mulvaney level transition right there. That was terrible.
Well, good.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm working on.
I thought you're the consummate professional. That's what everyone tells me. Oh yeah, study Nick. He's the consummate professional.
Anybody who says I'm a consummate professional has never watched the show. Oh my gosh. Would never wish to be labeled as such.
How you been, brother?
Very, very good. But man, just constantly got something going on.
Yeah, I know.
It's not bad, but geez.
I know. I know.
Tiring.
You're a really busy person.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be like lazy life.
Yeah,
right?
that's what this is. That's why we signed up for this. That's why everyone's like I thought we found the lawyer hack. You know, it's like be a hack lawyer. And
yeah,
that's the hack to lawyering is be a hack lawyer and go on the internet and just talk about law. And there you go.
Yeah, but no, I'm like not as busy streaming as I would like to be. I'm more busy doing other stuff. And it's like, oh my God.
Speaking of, how was Philly?
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. We had a lot of fun. It was a live show run by Who Are These Podcasts, their crew, and then collaborating with Dick Masterson on his two shows, The Dick Show and The Biggest Problem in the Universe. And I was just there. I didn't have to do or plan anything. I just showed up and told some jokes. I stole one guy's spot for part of the show by accident. That was funny.
I heard about that. You were sitting in someone's chair?
Well, I was sitting in the chair they had me sit in for my bit. And then the next, so Carl from Who Are These Podcasts is like an autism, and he regiments out this show by the minute. And I didn't realize that for the collaboration show, but so they did Who Are These Podcasts? And then they did the Dick Show. So I come out for the Dick Show because that's who I'm associated with, right? And then they did Biggest Problem in the Universe, and I got to stay for that because it's Dick's show also. And then they did the crossover show between Who Are These Podcasts and Biggest Problem. And that's where apparently I was supposed to leave the stage, but I had no idea what I was doing. So I turned to Dick. I'm like, am I on for this? He goes, I don't know. And so then I turned to Vinny, who was sitting to my left, but he got up and then another guy sat there. And I turned more because he was behind me. And I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. And he only heard something like, I'm supposed to be here. So he's like, okay. So he left.
So good.
So he left and I was like, all right, okay, well, I'm here. And so I did it. And then after the show, he's like, yeah, I totally was supposed to be where you were. I was like, why didn't you just say something? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I'm just here. But he said it was no big deal. We had a lot of fun.
A few times I've been called into to appear on shows where they give you that set schedule, and I find it very unnerving. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I thought that was me, where it's like, no, you're going to be there from 7:04 until 7:32, and I'm like, that seems really precise.
They didn't do that. They didn't say who was on stage. That was the thing. Because if there was a list that said, Nick, you're not on for this part, I would have been like, oh, cool. No idea. But I had no idea. So it was just crossover show. I'm like, well, am I in the crowd? I don't know.
And I was watching you tell your cheesesteak story yesterday, which was that was a good deal. I mean, it's your first time trying a Philly cheesesteak, right?
I mean, you ever had the mall Philly cheesesteaks, but it's not a real one, right?
What I'm saying is, they say that when it comes to bagels, there's a noticeable difference between a New York bagel and bagels from out of New York. That's what people say.
Yeah, well, that's because you can't get a bagel after 5 p.m. on Fridays in New York.
What? Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, from like 5 p.m. Friday to 5 p.m. Saturday, no bagels to be found. But after
Oh, it's
that, they're
only.
great.
Oh, you're saying it's only kosher bagels that are. You son of a bitch.
I just heard that the Jewish bagel is the better bagel. That's what
I
I've
didn't know
heard.
that. I didn't know
That's-
that.
I don't know if it's true.
Apparently, that's what there was the talk of the Fox news station was, according to that lawsuit that was filed by that woman. Did you read that lawsuit that was filed by what's her name? Rothberg, what was her name? Something.
Is this a chick that got fired that then leaked all the shit for the Dominion lawsuit?
Yeah. I actually read the lawsuit myself.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't read it.
I read the complaints when she sued Tucker and Fox and 50 other people and she was a producer.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat's going to know the name. Someone there's got to know the name. But
Grossberg.
That was it. Grossberg. So her anti-Semitism that she somehow endured, that she somehow managed to make it through, was that that one time someone brought in bread, I guess maybe bagels, from a kosher bakery, and this guy said a week later, one of the producers said, "Hey, can we get some of that Jew bread again?" That was the anti-Semitism.
He liked the Jew bread.
Yes,
that was pro-Semitism.
So right, and I was just thinking, hey, I'm dealing with the same anti-Semitism right here.
No, I'm for the Semitic bread. I want the good Semitism.
Yeah, so I was laughing when I was like, this is so not anti-Semitic. This is like this is the stupidest thing in the world. I mean, she ended up amending the complaint, and Tucker's no longer a part of it. I don't know if you know this, but he's not in the complaint anymore. But even as against Fox, which, let's face it, I mean, who's taking the side of Fox unless you literally you tuck between your thighs? But even just looking at it as an attorney, I was like, this is the most ridiculous complaint I've seen. There's no anti-Semitism here. There's no misogyny. I mean, the misogyny was that offensive terms used about women, which were not directed at her. It's like, just stop. I can't. You're basically taking protections and twisting them to a degree that you make everyone hate you and any race or gender associated with you. So thanks for ruining the world for the rest of us, you selfish, narcissistic bitch.
Yep, that's how it always goes.
Yep,
that's how it always goes. Yeah. No, I'm very pro-Semitic. I want more Semitic on me than Stormy Daniels has.
I'll talk to my people about that.
I don't know if that works. I don't know if she's been with any Jewish guys.
Yeah,
I'll have to go back and see who's cut from her menu. From the roster. Oh my God.
Can't wait to get to Rumble fast enough. So
well, I've got a bunch of stuff tonight. There's a huge Supreme Court case coming.
A few, but which one are you referring to?
Which one? Hold on, where is it? It's the Chevron deference one.
Oh yeah. It's something with an R. Someone actually just super chatted me about it.
Yeah, I've got a news story about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got that. I've
got
the
Chevron deference.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I thought you said defense. Okay. Yeah,
no, deference.
Yeah, the Chevron deference. Yeah.
I probably slurred through it because of all the liquor I've drank. I did have one alcoholic beverage today at lunch. I don't normally drink, but I was out with Lady Raggets, and I had a blood orange teeny, which is like the gayest thing I've heard of in a while. Mm-hmm. But it was like a blood orange martini. God, it was really good.
It's 3 parts Bud Light.
No, there's no Bud Light in it.
What was it?
No Bud Light in it. But the bartender does have to dip his balls into each one just to, since there's no Bud Light, he has to make it gay somehow.
Why do they do it that way? Why do they have to? Nope, that's the rules.
God, my balls are sticky at the end of every shift. This is terrible. It was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. But so I've got that. I've got Chevron deference. I've got a middle school student who was sent home for refusing to change a shirt that said there are only 2 genders.
A 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Who gave a speech to the school board.
Right. That's awesome. This is a great story. A federal judge rules that Pennsylvania school district must allow after school Satan club. Which I'm like, based. Where was my Satan club at school? I actually made a religious defense argument when they wanted me to turn my Rob Zombie shirt inside out because
there was a Satan club when you were in school. They just called it emo. That's all.
Yeah, but no, my shirt had a giant pentagram on it that was circled, and they're like, "Yeah, you got to turn that inside out." I'm like, why? Like it's a concert T-shirt. And they're like, well, you know.
And you, like, you were not as brave as the 12-year-old who said, "No, I'm not taking this shirt off."
No, I did.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. He's braver than you were.
No, I said that too.
Oh, you said that too. So
yeah, I got in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
They told me not to wear it the next day, and I was like, I'm not going to wear the same shirt 2 days in a row, you weirdo. Like, what was your idea there? But no, they tried to make me turn it inside out, and I made a freedom of religion argument. I was Christian at the time. Like, I was like, if I was wearing a cross, I wouldn't have to hide it. I'm like, well, it's different. This one says something about killing people. It's like, yeah, it's lyrics from a song, bro. Like, calm down. It just says, I will shoot up this school tomorrow. I mean, come on. No, so that was fun. North Carolina Supreme Court hands Republicans a big win. Did you hear about that one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that state went Florida red. I mean, that they changed. I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder, but yeah, that state is going to turn.
Steal it. Have it.
That state, there were 3 different elements to what the court did in that, when they basically said, all right, so yeah, the Republicans have been gerrymandering, and not only are we not going to touch it, but we're going to say from now on the court has no right to actually weigh in on this at all. So gerrymander away, which between you and me, I think gerrymandering is the most corrupt thing in the world. And it's a case where both sides really do it.
Yeah.
As like whoever's in power is like, oh, we're going to gerrymander the hell out of this baby
until they actually like go to a consistent standard. And I think the most consistent standard was what was actually laid out when we founded the country: 1 representative per 30,000 people. Mm-hmm. And I realized that means we would have 10,000 representatives. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. Just don't pay them anything at all. Like, don't. Why should we pay? Why do we pay them $200,000 a year, Joe?
It's astonishing. It's astonishing how much they rake in. It really is, especially because a lot of them, it's not even like a full-time gig. But
yeah, it's supposed to be public service.
Yeah, you would think so. They certainly wouldn't be. You wouldn't see any lifers. That's for sure.
Right.
Although I think a lot of them find ways to milk the system in ways.
Oh yeah, they make a fortune. Oh, did you see how much money Chief Justice John Roberts' wife made last year?
No.
So she consults for law firms.
So this explains why the Supreme Court wrote the letter. That's why they wrote the letter today.
Yeah.
You saw, I mean, because I don't know if you.
No, I didn't know that they wrote I didn't know they wrote a letter today, but I knew that something was coming, because they're like, no, this ethics shit is bullshit. We're not going to deal with it.
They wrote a letter to Congress basically saying F off, leave Thomas alone, leave Gorsuch alone, and all 9 of them signed off on it. Like, and it's like, dear DNC, stop being annoying pricks. We're not going to listen to whatever you tell us that we have to do. So go jump in a lake. And it was like, signed Ketanji Brown Jackson as well as Clarence Thomas, and every one of them was just like, leave us the hell alone. And I guess part of their motivation is like, we're all doing it.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, and this is the most important part of this, is that there is no provision that gives Congress regulatory oversight of the judicial branch in the Constitution. And if they did, they would not be a co-equal branch of government. Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court regulates itself, and Congress has the power to impeach. And basically, the Supreme Court says, if you think you have the balls to take us on, then take one of us on. Impeach us if you think the behavior is bad enough. But you know what happens if the Democrats were to impeach a Supreme Court justice? Oh my God. It would be absolute fucking carnage.
It would be.
And it would be great. I want him to do it.
Oh, of course. Are you kidding me? Go after Thomas. Go after Thomas. But we're not going to see it because we have a Republican House now. So they're never going to get like any impeachment charges brought on.
No, not at all. By the way, Robert's wife made $10.3 million last year.
She's a very good consultant. She's
She-
very, very good at her consulting.
She was a private sector lawyer until he joined the Supreme Court. And then she resigned from being a lawyer and went into the consulting business and now consults with firms who end up with cases before the Supreme Court. And there is absolutely nothing that says that that can't happen anywhere. Congress can make rules for any other court. Congress has full jurisdiction over the appellate courts, over the district courts, over the bankruptcy court, over the FISA court, but they can't touch the Supreme Court. That's what makes them supreme, baby. Article 3, immunity.
We are such a corrupt country.
I love it. And
Oh
we're
my God.
still one of the best ones around.
Yeah, that's like not even close. Like the freedoms we have here, as bad as you think, like the authoritarianship, you could be living in Michigan on the Whitmer and you're still living in like the freest place on earth compared to any other country. It might suck compared to Florida, but compared to like any other country, any other Western country, Far East, anywhere, you're in a far freer place, which is so sad.
It's so great. I love it. It's fantastic. And the thing that I love about it is the founders thought through all of this, and we act like they didn't. We act like they were naive to the realities of corruption, the realities of insider dealing and all of that stuff. They weren't. I mean, they knew it was going to go on. They did it. They engaged in it. If we take a cynical approach to the founders, you can see that the revolution was largely self-interested businessmen getting everybody to fight for protection of their business.
Right.
I mean, that's why the tea tax was such a big deal. Half those guys imported tea. Like, fuck this. We're getting Actually, we need those guys to get muskets. But they also fought. I mean, it's not like they didn't join in. It's not like they didn't risk anything. But it is great to see that, like, that's it. And then the first thing they do, I think one of the first measures they did when they actually formed the U.S. government was pass a tax on the importation of tea.
And speaking of which, I thought RFK Jr. in his "I'm running" speech I thought it was a brilliant opening to his speech when I don't know if you watched his speech or not.
No.
He started the speech by basically saying, I'm announcing my candidacy here in Boston for a couple of reasons. The first being because my family has such ties here, blah, blah, blah. And there's a nice way of invoking, like, yeah, I am like an actual Kennedy, not just a Kennedy name, but like, I'm part of the inner circle of Kennedys. And then he followed up and he basically started talking about how 240 years ago, and he starts talking about the Boston Tea Party. And he said that was the first time that Americans stood up against the corrupt merger of corporation and state. We had the British government together with the East Indies Trading Company, and that was the corrupt merger of corporation and state, and we've been fighting against that ever since. And that's why I'm running for office, so that I can fight against the corrupt merger of corporation and state that we have that's so present in this country today. And I was like, wow, I never even thought of that as to like how it really is. It's something we've been fighting for like a quarter millennium nearly, is like just stopping that. And you're right, when you just nailed it right now, you're like, they were all importing tea themselves.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but that's a great opening, isn't it? I mean, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool way of tying history together with where your platform stands. So
yeah, it is. And maybe I should watch that speech. I don't know. But that there's more important news than all of this. Anything we're talking about, Joe. You know what's going on tonight? The Met Gala.
Is it tonight?
Yeah. All the stars are showing up. They're showing up in their outfits. It's very important. My news feed is covered.
Is it?
In outfits, Joe.
It's covered. Oh, it's covered in outfits?
It's just outfits everywhere. Did you know that Kim Kardashian showed up with a pearly look? Dua Lipa showed up with over $10 million in diamonds. This is the news, Joe. I mean, what are we gonna do if we don't find out about their outfits that they're wearing?
Wow. So
I've never once clicked on a Met Gala outfit news story.
Really?
And they just flood my news feed. I'm like,
you didn't cover the tax the rich dress from AOC?
No.
What about the fact that she's being investigated for her night at the gala last year? Did you cover that? Yeah. Yeah,
No.
there's a whole investigation into whether she basically absconded with funds and took impermissible donations because she like stiffed her hairdresser and like she's like such a greedy Marxist that she
She's
and yeah,
great.
yeah.
She's perfect. She is the perfect Democrat. I love her. She's so funny. It's like, blah blah blah, but money just flows in. She's like, it's like she went from bartender to boss bitch of the Democrat Party in like 2 years, inexplicably. And they're like, well, I guess we just wanted to shove a retard forward through affirmative action. I don't know. Just put her in a wheelchair and kick her up the stairs. Like, I don't get it. Like, why they listen to her at all? She's the least consistent person.
Oh
And
yeah,
but everybody just like that party just fawns over her. And then she shits all over half of them.
yeah.
And then they're like,
that's what makes her
she's
the
great.
perfect Democrat.
I
That's what
know.
makes her the perfect Democrat. Yeah.
God, it's fantastic. I hope she just keeps doing. I hope she keeps ruining whatever district of New York she's from.
Yeah, that's where my dad lives, so thanks.
Yeah. Well, that's his fault then. What did he do to stop it?
That's where I grew up. There.
Did you ask him if he voted for her?
I'm fairly certain he did not.
Did you ask him? Are you sure? You're sure your dad's not an AOC simp?
I'm very, very. There are a few things that I can say with sufficient sureness. There's zero. Yeah, I'm very, very confident in this one.
Simpery is happening out there, Joe. I don't know if you know this.
Have you seen my dad? Have you seen him?
Yes, I have very briefly, but
yeah. No, he's not the type to simp. That's just not his. It's not part of his deal. It's not part of that whole old hunched over rabbi thing of simping for some Latina girl.
I don't know. This guy didn't think it was either, right? But he was wrong. So maybe you're wrong. Man shares video from hospital bed and reveals his best friend shot him over a woman who wasn't even his girlfriend.
Whoops.
There's nothing easy about dating or beginning to date. It's only natural.
What a great opening line for a guy shot over dating. There's nothing easy about it. Now you're getting shot for it.
Yep. It's only natural for there to be some insecurity surrounding the whole dating culture. But if a person can't trust their own friends when it comes to dating, they have the wrong friends. One guy proved he was not to be trusted. A video has amassed millions of views and shares depicting a man sharing what his friend did. Man revealed he got shot by his friend over a girl that neither of them were involved with. Simply dealing with more than one person runs a type of risk, whatever the case. Who writes these articles? A man shared a video from the hospital bed detailing his injuries. While someone held the phone, the man showed the bags and tubes he was hooked up to. After that, he revealed his friend did this to him. The man said his friend actually shot him. So the man's reason for shooting him was over a girl. That said, the girl was not anyone either of them was dating. However, the friend thought the man had something going with her and he liked her. As a result, this man got shot. So there you go, Joe. He's like, I'm not with her. You not with her, but I think you might want to be with her, and I want to be with her, so blam!
Nothing says boyfriend material like a guy who's willing to off another dude in the hopes that maybe he'll go out with you.
What a resume. What a resume that is. I mean, I don't know how you fight with that. Like, who else is she going to get that's going to be committed to her in the way?
Yeah, seriously. Honey, you gotta like take a closer look at this guy. He's a fine specimen right there.
Did you see one of my favorite stories of the past couple weeks? It was a guy in Texas who was on a date and he went and he had his car valet parked, and then he found out that it wasn't the guy who valet parked wasn't actually a valet and scammed him out of like $40. So he goes and he shoots and kills the guy. And then he puts the gun in his holster and goes back to his date.
Are you serious?
Yes. Hold on. Man shoots valet scammer. That's a great story. There you go.
If he was scammed, why didn't the guy drive away with the car? I'm so confused by this story.
Look, you wouldn't drive away from this man.
Oh, dude.
That guy's no chill. Police say man continued date after fatal shooting over $40. Oh, there's more pictures here.
Wow.
Oh, just the same picture. Okay. A Texas man on a date who paid $40 to park, only to learn inside a Houston burger joint that he was scammed. Allegedly went back and fatally shot the man posing as a tenant, and then returned for dinner, according to court records. Oh, wait, so it wasn't a valet parking. The guy's just like, man, it's $40 to park in this lot. Takes $40.
He didn't get the...
Eric Aguirre appeared in court on Thursday on murder charges. Wait, that's not murder. That's justified.
Yeah, no, that's justice right there. That's street justice.
Yeah, $40 is exorbitant. Guy should have gotten. You should have been like, it's 15.
You think you're in New York or something? Please.
Yeah, you should have said 15.
Yeah.
Let's see.
See, greed kills.
46-year-old Elliot Nix. His bond was set at $200,000. His attorney Brent Mayer declined to comment. He allegedly told his date everything was fine and that he just scared the man after. Well, I think that's accurate. The guy was terrified.
Terrified to death.
Yeah. After returning to Rodeo Goat restaurant from the parking lot. Well, if you're eating at the illustrious Rodeo Goat, you should really expect to pay $40.
A $40 cover charge for the parking. Yeah.
I mean, at the Rodeo, I can't believe it's that cheap at the Rodeo Goat.
What do you tip the maitre d' at the Rodeo Goat?
At least $100. I mean, if you want to sit there that week, you gotta drop a C note.
No, seriously, what did he really? This guy really? He thought that there was a $40 parking fee for a restaurant called Rodeo Goat.
That's what he says. What's the menu at the Rodeo Goat?
I want to know.
Let's see. The Rodeo Goat, burgers, brews, and more. I mean, how can you get in Dallas? Yeah, let's see. We'll pull up there. They have several locations. Casa Linda, Dallas, Frisco, Fort Worth, Design District, Dallas, Houston, Plano, Rockwell, and Cypress Waters in Coppell, Texas. I wonder which one this was. Okay, so here we go. Gary's date contacted police 2 days later. The police had released photos of the couple who had been identified by tips to Crime Stoppers. Oh, you snakes. She wanted to do the right thing. She wanted to make sure that she came forward and told the police what she knew. Rick DeToto, the woman's attorney, told KPRC.
She wanted to make sure she wasn't indicted. That's what it was.
Yeah, must not have been a good date. Must not have been a good date if that's it. Hold on, I'm getting the menu pulled up. Let's see. Can we get order online now? Okay, so this is the online menu from the Rodeo Goat in Casa Linda, Dallas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you would think that it was anything other than this, frankly. I mean, you've got $15 burgers. The Great Bambino, Evan Grant, bacon and Gouda stuffed beef patty, sliced brisket. Oh my God, that sounds good.
Bacon and Gouda stuffed beef patty.
Yeah, well, except for the bacon for you, I guess.
Or the Gouda. Yeah.
You can't have Gouda?
I can have Gouda, but not with meat.
Well, you can't have meat and cheese together?
Right.
It's very complicated.
It is complicated.
I don't know if you're going to have any of these. I think all of them have some sort of cheese.
Fairly certain they're not under the Orthodox Union of Austin, Texas, or wherever this is. Fairly certain.
So, like, you can't have Gouda in the meat or on the meat. Is that a yes to both of them?
Right.
Okay, so you have to eat your meat separate from your cheese.
Yeah, we wait several hours after eating meat before we'll have any dairy product. So, no ice cream, no milk, no nothing.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, I think when you get to heaven, you should ask God for a cheeseburger.
It's top of my list right there. Right there.
I want these bad. Jalapeno cheddar tater tots topped with melted cheese, bacon, chive, and clearly a fried egg on there. Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway. So yeah, this makes sense for a $40.
Yeah, of course. You should pay more for parking than you do for 2 entrees.
Yeah.
That total sense.
Oh, technically it was $20 each. They drove in 2 cars, and like a gentleman, he paid for her car. Okay.
So this is, I'm going to tell you.
What, go?
This is my best guess.
Yeah.
She pulled into the lot first. He took the 20 from her And then he's like, oh, I have to take the 20. He's like, I'm taking the 20. Like, he's like, once I told her 20, I got to keep this cover going. Because if you see that cyborg coming, you're not going to try and scam him. You right?
No.
I mean, no one, even the worst of Darwin's mistakes is
Right.
not going to try and scam that. You just wouldn't, right? I mean, come on. You'd be sitting there like
That guy
a
looks
yellow
like
streak running down your thigh. And he looks freaky.
He looks like a cue ball that refuses to fall in the pocket.
He looks like one of the cousins from Breaking Bad, right? It's like this guy definitely has that stiletto that's popping out of the toe of his boot. Then he's ready to go. That guy.
Yeah, that thing's going right in your neck.
You're not messing with. No one's messing with that. But it basically figured, oh, here's some stupid woman. I'll try and like basically. He told her $20. So he's like, oh yeah. Yeah, so it's 40 for the 2.
I like this guy. It's a guy in chat. Dirk Diggler says he paid for everything and the bitch ratted on him.
It's so true.
I know.
It's so true.
God.
Man, bitches ain't loyal.
These hoes ain't loyal.
Can you believe that? That's so wrong.
Oh my God. I love this paragraph. An employee at a nearby smoke shop later told police he saw Aguirre run back to his car, grab a pistol, go after Nix. The employee said both men went out of his view, but he heard a gunshot before 8 p.m. Then saw Aguirre nonchalantly walking back to his car with the gun in his hand.
It's bothering me that you're not saying Aguirre, but you're saying Aguirre.
It's Aguirre.
It's definitely not Aguirre.
I know people with this last name. It's Aguirre in Minnesota.
Yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. In Minnesota, yeah.
Right. They don't pronounce things right. So anyway, wait, real quick. I have to address this hater in the chat. Just kidding, not a hater. Heather says, why do you do the show so fucking late? Heather, believe me, if I could do the show earlier, I would, but it's just almost impossible for me to do a show earlier than 11
You think he can book me earlier in the day? No. Seriously.
Jones got a show at 9. I can't do my show until 11.
There you go. Them's the rules.
Yeah, exactly. So Aguirre then walked back to the restaurant to go inside with his date, according to the affidavit. Hold on, I gotta go out there. Wait. Oh my God, I love this guy. Houston criminal defense attorney Grant Shiner, who's not affiliated with the case, said that under state laws related to protection of property, Aguirre's attorney will likely be able to make an argument that the use of deadly force is justified. I mean, I don't think so. Look, I am all for Texas defensive property laws, but I think this one might be stretching it.
Yeah. We've read those statutes. We covered the Chad Reed case. No.
It's
that's really that's stretching. That's Alvin Bragg level stretching, like Alvin Bragg pants level stretching.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's YouTube thumbnail girl levels of stretching.
It took me a second to figure out what the hell you were talking about.
So I'm in a chat group and someone DM'd a picture of a YouTube short with 1.1 million views. And it's just a woman in yoga pants, like in a full split stretching. It's like, mom stretches. I'm like, that's not mom. That's not even close. It's just this. It's just butt cheeks for days. It's like, okay, got it. Like, why does this get 1.1 million views? You have to ask. Anyway, okay.
Speaking of people that get big views, you and I have a mutual. We both signed on to Attorney Reacts now.
Yeah,
I saw you in the little Discord server there, and I was like, oh, they finally found a way to reel Nick in. If you guys are unfamiliar with it, you guys need to check out Attorney Reacts because videos featured there by both of us. So,
yes. And Nate, I think, is in there.
Nate, Uncivil. There's I think, and I was like, he was just signed up this week. That's why it's like I'm breaking this. Is it too early to break the news?
I don't care. Don't have to tell me.
Yeah.
I don't know. They may never send me a video to do, so who knows?
Well, I have a feeling eventually they'll get around to it.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll be on the Attorney Reacts channel as well. Attorney Tom, running that beautiful project.
Mm-hmm. No,
That
and
dude-
then that's when you said 1.1 million views, I was thinking, yeah, Attorney Tom, he knows how to like churn views.
Yep. It's
So
amazing.
I'm like, I'm just gonna ride his ability to churn views
Mm-hmm.
because
No,
I don't know the secret to that formula, but
he's got it down.
he's really good at it. Maybe he's gonna have on your vids. He'll just have that mom.
Yeah, that's what he'll do. I just put attorney reacts to mom stretching. Mom yoga stretching. That shit's illegal. That's all I'll say. That'll be it. 12 billion views.
There you go. That's great.
Attorney reacts to Lululemon pant stretch test. I'm so glad I'm not in high school these days, man. I am so glad. Because like the yoga pants are like all the girls wear now. Like it's just okay for them to wear like the skin tight fitted pants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they had only kind of started to wear pants like that when I was in high school, and it was already a disaster.
Right.
Like you're walking around with a gun in your mouth the whole time. Like I just have to pull the trigger if they ask me to stand up at the wrong portion of class. Like it's just over, right?
Why'd you say gun in your mouth?
Because that would be
yourself?
Well, yes, that was.
Okay. Did I? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, because you would want to die. Never mind.
Oh,
anyway.
That's what. Okay. All right.
Slag lust. So let me read a couple super chats, and then we'll get into the more real stories.
Yeah.
You know.
Do it.
Slag lust says, "Can I get a toast to myself? I was enjoying a funny stream, and my family derailed my good time by wanting to talk about an uncle or grandparent or whatever who recently died and wanted a YouTuber to toast them. Such obvious attempts at attention grabbing got both my wife and son a crippler crossface, and they haven't recovered yet from." What?
What's a crippler crossface?
So a crossface is a wrestling or move where you put your arm like across their face, right? And not like a chokehold where you're down around their neck. You're actually across their face and just kind of crushing in on their nose and turning their head to the side.
Okay.
So so his wife and son must have talked about someone who died. They wanted a YouTube to toast him, so he gave them a crossface as in response.
So now you're giving the toast to the dead one?
Right. I don't know if like the wife or son is dead or the grandparent. I don't know. Somebody died.
Whoever died.
Oh, that was Chris Benoit's finishing move. Oh, okay. So that makes an Chris Benoit murdered his wife and child. So there's the joke there.
Oh.
Hilarious.
I didn't know. Right. Okay. Now, right.
I didn't get it. Let's see. I'm going to drink this. I got this Canadian Club 45-year whiskey. But it's obviously very serious toast. And we have to do. Oh, man.
I'll join you.
What are you drinking?
I got sitting here a bottle of Glenlivet Founders Reserve.
Oh, that's good stuff. I like that.
What's with the whole smelling thing? What is it that you do there?
I don't smell it. I lick the drip off the bottle.
You're licking the drip.
Yeah. So when you pour it and there's that little drip that runs down, I lick that. So you don't want to waste it.
So you don't waste it.
Right. I heard that's what alcoholics are supposed to do.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I need bad.
Right. Because if you're an alcoholic and you see liquor going to waste, it hurts you deeply internally. And that's, you don't want to do that.
I just scrape it along the glass. But that's me.
Yeah, that doesn't work all the way. For me.
Sure.
I don't know. I started doing it a long time ago, and then now it's just habit. So I just automatically, like if that bottle was dipped in something venomous, I'd just die and that'd be the end of it. All right. Well, I guess to Slagless uncle or grandparent or whatever who just died, a cheers to you and a cheers to your crippler cross-faced wife and child laying and writhing in agony. I'd say call them an ambulance, but you know how this story turns out, and you definitely don't want to do that, brother. Have a good one. Cheers to you and to your health if no one else's. There we go. See, I got this 45-year Canadian Club at my liquor store.
That
And
sounds.
the problem,
That's a type of bourbon.
well, it's Canadian, so it's not a bourbon. It's
It's a
a
rye.
whiskey. Yeah. But I will just say, I mean, the biggest problem with Canadian Club is the word Canadian is in it. So it's inherently inferior whiskey.
Yeah.
It is not that great. So Dig Dug says, good to see y'all. I was recently able to take advantage of a gold check mark on Twitter and had immense fun trolling while I could. And now my business ads are disabled. Now I got to give more money to Zuckerberg. Fuck.
What is a gold check mark? I never heard of such a thing.
Those are the like authentic check marks.
Oh.
Like you got to pay for the blue check marks, and then they have the authentic gold checks. Because did you see they did a reaping of the blue check marks?
Yeah, that was like a week ago or so that they got rid of and then Elon tried making nice to those who cried loudest and had enough followers, like Stephen King. He ended up giving him he covered him on the $8 or whatever. You heard about
thanks.
That? Yeah, thank God. Otherwise, we might not have known.
Yeah, Stephen King needs the help, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw one. This is my favorite. Mark Cuban. You know Mark Cuban, the billionaire owner of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
right?
I heard of him.
He was complaining that he's losing quote unquote thousands of Twitter followers a day or a month or whatever, and his $8 a month blue check mark isn't happening. I'm like, whoa, Cuban, you're really stretching that $8 a month there, buddy. Like, why don't you just run a sponsored ad? Like, if you really care about your Twitter follower count that much, just run a sponsored ad to get Twitter followers like a bunch of other billionaires have done. Like, it's not that big. It's like, man, my $8 a month is just not cutting it. You own a basketball team.
Seriously, you are like the star of Shark Tank. Like,
yeah,
you're okay.
You own black people and entrepreneurial opportunity all at once. Like, you own all of that. How do you, in 2023, that's still legal.
Wow. You said that.
I'm with Colin Kaepernick. It's the modern day slave trade.
There you go.
They got these Negroes in shackles while they pay the millions of dollars. It's very unfair. Very unfair. Max Manifesto says, if guns kill people, do forks make people fat?
Oh,
I think it's spoons.
Thought. Yeah, it's Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah. And also, I've never seen a fat person use a fork.
Yeah, they want to shovel it in fast. They
get one of those serving spoons and just like grab a whole chicken, spit out some bones. Like a Looney Tunes cartoon or whatever. Ricky Tar says, my estranged dad found me 7 years ago. I wanted to take it slow. He texted me at the beginning of April to check in with me. I never responded. 6 days later, he died. He wasn't perfect. Can I get a toast for a man who tried? Wow. Yeah, that's kind of a heavy one.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, let's see you work out of that one.
Yeah. Well, Ricky Tar, to your dad, a flawed man, carrying a little bit of regret or remorse, who made the attempt to reconnect, and though you did not respond, know that he was probably happy just to have found you and to make that attempt at connection, and he knows that, well, he didn't know, but I'm sure he hoped that you saw it and had at least some longing thought as to who he was. Cheers to his passing.
And now he knows.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cheers to his passing, brother.
Amen.
All right, let's hit this. Let's hit this. This topic is so important, I think, that it merits the first billing. The Supreme Court to consider overruling the Chevron doctrine. This is fantastic. So Supreme Court, well, do we want to explain Chevron deference first?
Probably a wise move, because there's something that only an attorney would know.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to make a bad attempt, unless you want to make a bad attempt at it.
I'm happy to do whatever you like.
Well, why don't you do it then?
I could sit here looking pretty, or I could try to sound intelligent.
I have you as a guest for a reason, so I don't have to do any work. Why don't you explain Chevron deference?
Okay, so the Chevron doctrine essentially is a case from 1984 where Chevron, where there was, well, I'm not going to go into the details of that case, but the ruling that came out of it,
that's what's important, is
which,
the ruling.
which has been the rule of the land ever since 1984, nearly 40 years, is that when you have a statute, a law that is somewhat ambiguous and can be interpreted a number of different ways, and there is some agency that is delegated by the executive branch,
A regulatory agency
designed to carry out, to effectuate that statute. It is up to that agency to determine what the statute means. And as long as it's not like a crazy construction, the court is required to give deference to that interpretation, no matter how ludicrous the rest of society might find it to be. So if the IRS, in theory, is trying to figure out what happens with this, or the NIH is charged with developing a new drug for whatever issues, so it's up to them to determine exactly how it's going to be, what steps are going to happen, and how the statute should be read and interpreted and applied. And even if they are breaching what everyone else thinks is the proper reading of the statute, the court is required to give deference to the agency. That is what we got from Chevron, and it seems as if there's a case that's coming for the Supreme Court, which is looking to gut it and say,
And to those in the chat who have put two and two together, yes, the ATF falls under this.
Mm-hmm.
And a great example of Chevron deference that we've seen in action in the past week is the conviction of CRS, the YouTuber CRS something. I can't remember what their full channels, CRS Arms or whatever, who advertised these metallic business cards with a drawn outline, or I guess etched because they're metal, an etched outline of something that would appear to be an auto sear. Right. They advertise the sale of these auto sear artwork business cards, and the ATF determined that just the mere picture of the auto sear on the card was actually the definition of a machine gun under the Gun Control Act of 1969. So just this drawing, even though the actual definition of a machine gun requires parts plural, it requires two things, and this was one thing. And even though, as Fudbusters informed us on Friday, that the FBI admitted that they were unable to, just by grinding out the design, make the auto sear function, and they had to make material modifications to the picture to get it to work. Even though those things were true, the ATF still ruled that this thing is a machine gun in and of itself, and therefore that was under the statute an illegal advertisement for a machine gun manufactured after 1986, which violates the Gun Control Act, which does not allow you to do that. And he is now facing, I think, 42 years in prison for running a YouTube ad.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's guilty. So it's sentencing now. So he is guilty on 5 of 8 counts, and his sentence is up to 42 years in prison. Now, of course, they're going to appeal that decision.
Wow.
But that is all based on the ATF taking the completely illogical definition of machine gun and applying it to a business card sized piece of metal that is less than, a 1/4 inch thick.
And the real problem from a constitutional perspective with the Chevron decision is that, in essence, you're giving one branch 2 different powers, because they're both the executive, and they're becoming the executive branch and the judicial branch. Because if you're giving them deference, that whatever they decide to interpret it, that's considered the interpretation. That's the judiciary basically punting its own duties to make judicial determinations as to what the statute really means, and saying that the executive branch itself should serve as the judiciary, and they're going to decide whatever they decide. We'll give great deference to. That sounds ridiculous. It sounds to me to be unconstitutional, but what do I know? I'm just some schmo sitting in here.
Oh, I think the Gun Control Act and the National Firearms Act are both unconstitutional. I mean, in and of themselves, are restrictions on the Second Amendment, which it says shall not be infringed. And there's no, especially under
But
brewing.
didn't you know that shall not be infringed refers to a well or regulated militia and not to anything else?
Yeah, under Heller, that's not true. Oh, that's how I knew I was in Philly, by the way.
Oh,
I was
no
at the
guns around?
visitor. No, I was at there's plenty of guns around.
Oh, you were in that part of Philly.
No, just in the hands of every youth. No, I was at the visitor center for the Liberty Bell, which is right by the Constitution Center and stuff like that. And they had a book on the Second Amendment. And I read all the like praise notes for it. And they were from like New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post. And I was like, oh, okay.
So this is really historical.
Yeah. And it literally said, it shows how the Second Amendment is a complicated provision that dealt with the well-regulated militias and nothing else, and how it got bastardized into an individual right. And I was like, yeah, not really. Like, this runs completely contrary to all of the case law, only all of it. But man, it was great. So that was fun. But yeah, this is, we'll take a look at the details of this case. This is an extremely important case because Chevron, on this channel, a lot of the interest in Chevron is going to fall down to the ATF, how they define machine guns, how they define firearms, all of that stuff. But this has implications through through administrative law. This has massive implications.
The EPA, the IRS, every one of them.
Right.
Even theoretically, the FBI see the DHS and like what the DHS basically decides how they run. And like, it's asinine. And
when the EPA is a huge one. In fact, there's like a 96 case where the Sierra Club was suing George Bush because the Clean Air and Water Act, which establishes the EPA, basically says that this agency is charged with making air and water clean. Mm-hmm. And so again, going with Chevron deference, you have ambiguity in the statute. What is clean air and clean water? There's no metric laid out in the statute. There's no target. There's no like this many millirubins of whatever, this many, like none of that exists.
Is that a real word, millirubin?
I think it's bilirubins or whatever, and millibars.
Bilirubins is a test that they give babies to see whether or not they have jaundice.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there's jaundice
in the water. That's not
a
unit of measurement.
It's some unit of measurement. I don't know if it's in water. Like I just grabbed a word. But it's
all right. No, it's just how many Richters it's got.
Yeah, my statement is correct. That is not in the statute, Joe. I promise you.
Fair enough. True. Well, it's definitely not. I concur. It's definitely, there's no mention of bilirubins anywhere in the statute that authorized creation of the EPA.
Jacob Castro says 0.75 Fettermans. Which is, to be fair, about 3 times the Fettermans we actually have in Congress right now. That guy's stroke was bad. I saw him running a meeting the other day. Did you see that?
No.
Oh God, it was horrible.
No, I gotta see that. Now I wanna.
I'll see if I can find it in a minute. It's just him like reading the attendance list, like doing the roll call for the meeting. He's like, "Oh God, this is painful."
If he called me, I would have a very hard time not responding with "You rang."
Yeah. But yeah, so getting back to my point that I stepped all over.
About
the
this
EPA,
case.
the Clean Air and Water Act is so open, it's so ambiguous that the Sierra Club actually sued George Bush because they said he wasn't doing anything at all to protect the air and water in this particular place where they were building like a refinery or something. Who knows? And the Supreme Court basically said the EPA has the ability to determine what clean is. So, we defer to their expertise on what is clean. And, it's also like the executive authority concept where Congress makes the law, the executive branch implements the law, and it's up to the executive branch to determine how faithfully to execute that law. They just can't act in opposition to it. But a big part of that is, they get to make the determination on if they're doing a good job or not. And it's crazy to think about. And really should force, once we get that, we can attack things like the Clean Air and Water Act to be unconstitutionally vague. And say, well, this is vagueness. And what should have been void for vagueness a long time ago was protected by the idea that the agency can just make it less vague by determining it's not vague, right?
I'm only concerned because when you look at Barrett and Robert, there's three branches to it. There's three wings to the Supreme Court. You've got the leftist, and then you got the right. You've got Thomas, Gorsuch, and Alito, and then you've got the institutionalists, who are Roberts, Kavanaugh, and Barrett. And I'm concerned that the institutionalist section, which basically they determine the outcome of every case that comes before the Supreme Court, that they are going to basically say, well, this is how it's been set up, and let's just go with that. This is, otherwise they'll foresee exactly what you just said, that, hey, if we overturn Chevron, it's going to mean that there's a lot of things that, as far as how we're used to running America, are going to change drastically, and we just we're too big believers in institution to actually go along with that.
Yep, it's just that's how it goes.
So wait, so you think that that's, so you think that do you have any insight as to how do you think that falls under what an institutionalist would say, or do you think that they'll just be like, I'm trying to figure those three out as to where they would land on this thing?
I have no idea how they're going to land. It's tough because I think you're right on the split, and I think you got Thomas, Alito, and Gorsuch, who will be steadfastly against Chevron. I think Barrett may side with them, but we may get some weird plurality decision,
Oh, that's good. That's an interesting thought.
Where we have a bunch of people on this case, but like a plurality not really overturning anything.
Yeah, who knows?
Hey, Hydro, if you're going to be a faggot, I will remove you from the chat again, you bitch. And yes, it was from the very first picture. I said, please don't do that. So get your facts straight, get your foot out of your ass. I know you love it, but and go fuck off. Like, I know you got blown out of the water on Tim Pool today when you made your faggot comments over there too, you baby. You sit there whining in everyone's chat all day, not having any fun. Dude, go find somewhere and have fun. Like, try that instead of sitting there crying about how much money someone else makes, crying about everything everybody else does. Yes, we're all more successful than you because you sit around in YouTube chats jerking your dick off into your own mouth instead of actually doing anything productive in the world. It's really getting embarrassing. It's been weeks of you just crying and sadly bitching, just weeks and weeks sitting there twisting your nipples at how hard the world is on poor little Hydro. He's just out here to speak the truth. Dude, you're squeaking like a mouse in every fucking chat. Man, it's sad. It is sad to see you go from someone who is happy and like joking around with literally everybody. By the way, the same people you criticized, and for the stuff you criticize them for, you were joking with all of them. Every single one. Me, Tim Pool, Adam Krigler, everybody. You were on board until someone hurt your little feelings and you went crying to everyone you could find. Every single person, including trying to get locals to break their contract with me over being a racist and anti-Semitic. Oh my God, the most liberal, butthurt bullshit emails I've ever seen in my life. I should just display them because they're so fucking funny. Watching you turn into the cancel culture fucking baby that you've always been. It's the most pussy thing I've seen in my life. Nick made fun of me. Oh my God, how can you keep him on your platform? How can you give him money? It's a free speech platform, you fucking retard. Of course they're going to keep me on there. Of course they don't care that you're butthurt over some personal issue that you have with me, that you refuse to talk to me about 4 months. So I was like, hey man, why don't you just talk to me in person? Like, I'll talk to you privately. We can work out whatever thing made you so fucking mad that you couldn't countenance a single minute on the internet without talking about it. And you wouldn't do it. It's so weak. It is the most beta bitch behavior I've ever seen from anyone on any platform in being on the internet for like 25 years now. My God, man, go get a hobby. This is the saddest thing I have ever seen. It's pathetic, dude. And the worst part is people are telling you constantly, like, dude, why are you like this? Dude, why are you like this? Everyone. I know that Adam Krigler was really fucking confused when you did this to him. And so was I. I was like, dude, why are you doing this to Krigler? Like, you were a fan in his chat forever. You flipped on him like nothing. You're like, what? How dare Adam Krigler do X? And it wasn't even anything interesting. Like, he just talked about one of his experiences. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe he had this experience. Fucking hate him now. You did the same thing to me, same thing to Tim Pool. You've probably done it forever because I'm guessing you just have a chronic inability to be in a place where you like. But my God, get therapy, dude. Get therapy, homie. Like, it hurts to see. You were funny for a while. A long time. You were cool. And then all of a sudden, wow. Whew. Oh.
You feel better?
Yeah, Jay Liebgott, go ahead. Do it. I don't care. It's hilarious to me.
Oh.
So anyway,
woo!
My God, Joe, I don't understand people, Joe. I don't understand. I don't understand why people will just continually go to something they hate over and over and over and over again and just hate it and hate it and hate it and hate it. Like, I cannot imagine having the time to do that at all.
Yeah. I've
Okay.
wondered about haters. I've actually I've tried analyzing the mindset of like haters. Like, why, if someone really bothers you, like, why would you keep going back to that chat? Just be like, I can understand the concept of like, you like someone and then for something happens and you don't like them anymore.
Yeah, of course.
That happens to basically everything in my life outside of like my family. From like, I mean, and if you think about it, I'm not doing anything today that I was doing 10 years ago. So at some point, something that I was enjoying doing is just not for me anymore. But like, even if you get angry at something, like, it's like, why would you obsess over that? You're just making yourself miserable.
It's hard enough.
It's an unhealthy mindset.
It's hard enough for me to go like find news stories that I want to talk about because it gets my blood boiling. It gets me angry at government. It makes me it frustrates my day. It's like, well, I know people are going to want to talk about this subject when I see it. So then I go read it and I'm like, fucking IRS or whatever it is. Right.
Right.
And I get it, but it's like, this is part of the job that I do. It's part of what I have to do. But my free time, like, I do not sit around reading stuff that makes me mad. People are like, did you watch this video? I'm like, no, not at all. Like, I don't want to watch videos that make me upset. I want to go like laugh at stuff and have a good time. Like, that my free time is precious. I don't have enough of it. And I can't imagine spending it being so angry.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Anyway.
Oh,
well, that was cathartic. Now I feel better.
Good.
Speaking of things,
that's why I come. That's why I come here.
That's why I come too, Joe.
You're welcome. It's like I was like, can I lay this meatball over the plate any softer?
Speaking of things that make me happy and don't suck my energy, we're going to talk about Field of Greens.
Oh,
that's right. Field of Greens.
Is that the tasty beverage, which is actually good for you?
Well, this one is lemon lime. So I'm not sure if tasty beverage qualifies. I've not been I like wild berry. I like the original flavor. Lemon lime's been a little bit. It's been a little bit
of a miss. It's been a little bit of a
miss on the hit or miss spectrum.
Okay.
Right. But I'm going to say I'm hoping that I like it a little more on this one because I've noticed this with health products. Sometimes
you could really taste the kale.
No, it's really just lime heavy for me. Okay. Lemon lime is a flavor I actually like, but this one's a little heavy on the lime. But I've noticed with health products that if I keep consistent with them, I tend to start liking them, even if I didn't at first. I'll tell you, let's see. This is like my fourth lemon lime one. Let's try it. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Still too much lime.
Yeah. Not yet.
Still
Not
too
yet.
much lime, but a little bit better.
All
A little
right.
bit better. Maybe with like some sugar in it and maybe some candy. Maybe if I took out the lemon lime and replaced it with wild berry,
Yes.
that'd probably make it tastier.
Or replaced it with vodka.
I can do that.
Oh, yeah. Can you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that was recommended to that was definitely not recommended to me by by
Field of Greens
by
themselves.
fieldofgreens.com. They definitely did not say, yeah, you could just pour vodka in there like this. And that the person who was telling me definitely doesn't do that every morning with their Field of Greens. But here, so there we go. We'll just add a little bit of water in there, or vodka, Russian water in there.
Sweet.
So let's give that a shot. I'll see if that makes it any better. Maybe it will. I guess vodka and citrus is good.
Yeah. It's like a screwdriver. That's a longer gulp.
Better.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Actually, the bitterness of the vodka cuts through the lime. Not even joking. Good job, Joe.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's
There
why I
you
get the
go.
big bucks.
So again, the big benefit of Field of Greens is that it is a full serving of fruits and vegetables in every scoop. So if you're like me, like today, I mostly ate beef jerky. Not gonna lie, I had a half pound of beef jerky. It was great. It was delicious.
Okay.
Found this place that makes excellent beef jerky, and every time I head into the Twin Cities, I have to stop there and get some. So
if you be like Nick, you can basically throw your whole life out of whack and bring it back into balance with just a couple of scoopfuls of Field of Greens.
that's right. You don't even need to eat fruits and vegetables. You don't want to cook broccoli or asparagus. You don't want your urine to taste like asparagus anymore.
Do you know how expensive fruit and vegetables are in a Biden economy? Also, it's crazy. It's like you're up to here. But
exactly.
Now you can get all that good stuff and vodka.
Right. You just pour some like you don't have to do the vodka with the wild berry, but with the lemon lime, I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code NOSE to get yourself a little bit off, obviously. At least a little off the top. And that is the way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. So again, big thank you to fieldofgreens.com. Promo code NOSE for sponsoring this show. No, it was not Osseo Meats. It is the Village Market and Deli in Wayzata, Minnesota. That's the one. Village Market and Deli in Wayzata is where you should go ahead and get some beef jerky if you're in the Twin Cities. It's down by all the rich people stuff on Lake Minnetonka. Everything there's the jerky's not. It's a little expensive. It's not terribly. Jerky's always expensive. Right. But
turkey,
yeah. It's like a big steak whittled down into a piece of tree bark.
Right.
Yeah.
I was never big on the whole jerky thing. I always wondered why am I trying to rip the meat out in my fist, between my fist and teeth, like trying to yank meat off instead of just biting into a succulent steak. Like, to me, it's a weird thing about the whole. I guess if you're like on the cattle drive, so like you sort of have no choice because you want it to like not be rotten. But I didn't get the allure of 21st century allure of jerky. Maybe you can walk me through that.
Well, I mean, I don't like, there's a bunch of jerky I don't like, right? Like I don't like any of the grocery store jerky, like in the bags. It's got like the desiccant packages of silica gel in there. Those are gross. Right?
Okay.
Like they don't taste good. But there's something primal about ripping jerky, but like with your teeth and
I guess.
Right? Like, yeah, that's kind of awesome in general. But with this stuff, I will say, there are sections of it, because not all meat, even in a piece of jerky, is equal. But there are sections of this jerky that are tender and even juicy, as weird as that is for jerky.
Really?
And that is what hooks me in. And so there are some parts that are real like leathery and dry. Of course, they still taste good, but they're a little harder. They're more traditional, like jerky, harder to chew. When you get to those juicy parts, and I don't mean that fake juicy of like a Jack Links or whatever, not Jack Links, but you know, the store brands that you get where it's like feels kind of rubbery. It's not like that. It's very meaty, and it's just delicious.
You sound
It's
like thicker
delightful.
jerky.
Kind of. But it's great. It's great. I enjoy it. No, I mean, I love a good steak, right? I really do.
Yeah.
But
like
you know,
any human.
right. But I like because vegans aren't human. We know
No,
that.
they're definitely not. They're cyborgs.
Right. But yeah, it was like got some at the beginning of the day in the Twin Cities, and then as I was driving around, just snacking on jerky, man. It's good times.
By the way, I think vegans, I don't know that vegans don't like meat. I think that they're triggered into like basically masochism.
Yeah. Yeah. They're propagandized into it. They're groomed.
Yeah. They're groomed. Yeah. They are groomed.
Yeah. Yep. Carrie Mache says, what monitors do you have in your setup rackets? And what are your earbuds? What monitors? Okay. So I have an Aorus 43-inch 4K monitor in front of me.
43-inch.
Yeah.
I thought my 42-inch I was so proud of. I was like, I got the biggest monitor in the business I'm looking at right now.
Nope.
I got like a 42-inch, like curved. I was just like, man, this is like, my face looks bigger on the screen than it does in real life, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, no, I got a black monitor, so it's an inch longer than yours. Then I have my old gaming monitor is here. It's an AOS Rogue.
Tell everyone.
It's like a 27-inch 1440p monitor, and then here I have a drawing tablet, a Wacom drawing tablet that's a 4K. I think it's a 24-inch 4K drawing tablet as my third monitor. And then these
3 monitors.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you handle that. I got 2, and that's like I'm still ping ponging. Like I'm like watching like Agassi versus Becker or something. I'm just
and I don't know. I've kind of developed a flow with it. And then these are my custom 64 audio ear monitors that I bought at the end of 2020 and then never sent in the ear molds till at the end of 2021 and didn't send in the ear molds till the beginning of 2023. They finally came back. They have the Rekieta Law logo printed on them. You won't be able to speak in there, but yeah, they're fun. They're amazing. They're very, very good. So that's my monitor setup and my earbuds. I hope that helps. Okay. Diz Guy says, Nick, as a member of the FCC, I don't know what to do with you. I keep giving you a new retard and you keep yelling at them. Please discontinue this activity unless you expect to face fines. Well, there we go. I don't know what to do with it. Beak Boop says, hey, Nick, I bought my husband a bottle of Angel's Envy finished rye as a gift and he loved it. Thanks for the recommendation. Again, it's the most solid $100 bottle I know for the broadest audience. And it's just a really great bottle of whiskey. So I'm glad that your husband liked it. Even I knew he would. Okay, we've got Corrections 101 joined at the paralegal level and gifted a membership. Thank you. Doc Salty, welcome to lawyer status. Who's handsome? Welcome to paralegal status. And Neanderthal 2020 says nice rant.
Yeah, isn't that nice when you like can actually like basically unload yourself? And it's like this guy is making you money. Like he's hate watching you into making you richer. That's like pretty cool.
But I wish he would just like go do anything else in the world, honestly. Like because I don't really care to get wrapped up in fucking drama all the time. It's exhausting, Joe.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. So anyway, let me read through the rest of the YouTube rants and then we will shoot over to Rumble. Oh, wait, I got a couple Rumble rants to read first and then we'll shoot over to Rumble exclusively. Acrylicophobia says, your birthday toast Friday must have been good luck charm. I walked into a meeting this morning and walked out with a promotion, drinking an Angel's Envy finished rye toast to you. Cheers.
Nice.
Cheers to you, man.
Congrats.
Looks like Angel's Envy should send me a couple dollars.
There you go.
Or they could just send me a bottle. That'd be great. Music and Fiction says, good evening, counselors. 2 things. 1, rip to Gordon Lightfoot, gone at 84. Honor be to his music. And 2, EPA versus West Virginia was the great precursor to all sorts of good things. Enjoy the night. So there you go. There you go.
That sounds like it was written by a lawyer.
And he's not a lawyer, but he's in e-discovery, in an e-discovery business. So very lawyer adjacent, right? Okay, Squizgar 2322. Nick, have you seen that SCOTUS is taking up a case challenging Chevron? I have. Interestingly,
I heard about that too.
Stephen Crowder says, Joe, show me how to ride shotgun. Oh.
Show me how to ride.
Oh, have you seen the Crowder video? Like, I don't want to get into it too much, but that's kind of a funny joke, right? Because they only have one car.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Isn't that the weirdest part of the whole thing?
Yes.
Like unless it's a controlling thing. Like he's like,
yeah, maybe. I don't know. And I watched the video on Friday and I was like, it looks pretty bad.
Oh God. It's so gross.
Looks pretty bad.
It's so gross.
But there's no context to it. So it's like,
and it also jumps 40 seconds.
Yeah, we don't know what happened in there. We don't know what happened before. We don't know what happened after.
The jumping 40 seconds is really sus because
That's
you know that this was put together by somebody who does not like Steven Crowder. So if they're cutting out, if they cut out 7 minutes, you'd be like, okay, there was no conversation for 7 minutes or something. 40 seconds, or an hour and a half, nothing interesting happened. 40 seconds is like, no, we definitely don't want on the recording this part here. So that certainly seems like it probably is somewhat exonerating him. At the same time, as edited, it makes him look like a controlling schmuck.
Yeah, I could see if you have one car, like in Philly, the Airbnb we stayed in was apparently a really nice place in a really nice part of town, but there's only one stall garage, and you wouldn't want to park on the street there or anywhere in Philly. Like, so I could get if you had a one stall garage in a place like that. And that obviously, like, you could see the backyard. So it definitely wasn't a place like Philly because there were no backyards where I was. So it, like, presumably you've got at
Texas,
least
right? I mean,
yeah, he's in Texas, and it's after
they got lots of property in Texas. It's like
it's after he's made a a significant amount of money. He's been very successful for a while because it's like 2 years ago or something.
Maybe one car was in the shop.
I don't know.
That's the best explanation I can hear. That's the best defense for Crowder is if, like, okay, his main car is in the shop and he has like 2 cars, because why would he have more than that when, like, there's only 2 drivers? So that would be the best. That's the best look for Crowder, is if that's part of the story that no one knows. But yeah, having one car, I mean, you can buy a clunker for like $1,000 to drive around, just as a way of getting around.
You'd figure Crowder could actually Uber a car to his house. Like,
why would that happen? Well, no, and why can't he Uber? I don't understand anything about that. Like, why couldn't he Uber? The funniest meme I saw was a picture of like those Crowder like sandals with socks, like kicking back with a Corona, and there was like the belly
mowing the lawn. That was good. That was very funny.
That was really good.
Yeah. No, I mean, who knows the whole story? And what I basically said on it is, look, I don't want to be judged by the worst things I've ever said to my wife, and I wouldn't want her to be judged by the worst things she's ever said to me.
Yep.
But that video, I mean, it looks really bad, and but he's demanding everything from their case be released.
Which that's kind of, it's kind of an unusual move there. I mean, I think he's trying to show confidence that, like, if everyone saw the full context of everything, they would judge him more favorably than they are now, which is possibly true, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a bunch of, like, maybe there's a bunch of horrible stuff that she did or didn't do or whatever in there. And he's like, look, I was just on my last rope. I've been through all this stuff. She, completely ditched me. And I mean, maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know if public perception is going to work with that narrative. right? Like,
Here's the problem. Here's the reason I think that on a subconscious level it seems so bad. Have you ever talked to your wife about being wifely?
no, that's kind of weird.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
That's the creepy part. Like, be wifely and disciplined. That was the really creepy. Like, even more than the alleged, admitting to screaming, cursing her out that he's gonna f her up. That part bothered me less than the discipline.
Do
Learn
your
discipline.
wifely duties.
Be
Yeah.
wifely. That was just like, that was unsettling to me. And then, and even in context, it's like I would never even think to say something like that because I wouldn't even know what the heck that means. Like, because it reflects, I think on a subconscious level, it reflects a mindset that there's a certain set of requirements that he has, that an expectation that every wife should be doing. Like, the towels must be folded at 2 3/4 inches and not 3 inches and not 2.5 inches. Like, that's what you sort of picture is his expectations, which is why it seems so creepy and controlling. And even you would think, even in context, is not going to seem much better than what it is. So I feel weird defending him, and I feel weird because it does feel unsettling, and I feel weird accusing him because it feels like I'm being manipulated by people who were editing this video. So the whole conversation is it's a weird, just assessing it. And it's creepy also, like peering into someone else's diary, which is what this is. It's like, I'm looking into their diary. Like, it's not my business. Like, why am I watching this? Everything about it is just unsettling.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it in general, and I've been remiss to talk about it too much because I think there's so much that is still out there that we don't know. And again, the little family law that I've done and the family law lawyers that I've talked to, the reason I hate family law is because when people get into these situations, they become the worst. Like, I would much rather deal with a murderer than someone going through divorce if it's contested, because they become awful people. And so it's like, but jokes are still funny. And the show me how to ride shotgun is a pretty funny joke.
Yeah.
Monk in training. On my 4th tequila martini, L'Chaim, friend's younger sister got an African safari for her full family for a Make-A-Wish. Unfortunately passed 4 years later. Her father was a Hasidic. Ask Joe what that means.
Hasidic.
Tzadik.
A tzaddik.
Tzaddik. Yeah.
Tzaddik means a righteous person, like a holy person.
There you go. Very cool. Kevin Dorse has just started drinking bourbon, bought Elijah Craig, Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey 101, and Buffalo Trace. Any other affordable bourbon I should try? Yeah, man, get yourself some Basil Hayden's. Get their bourbon. Don't get their rye. The rye's kind of trash. But Basil Hayden's bourbon's pretty decent, like $45 a bottle. It's right in the same price range as those other ones that you got. You also got Four Roses is a good staple bourbon around that cost. If you want to splurge a little bit, and you can find it, this Penelope barrel strength, I just recently started buying it. It's $65, so it's like $20 more than those other ones. This is a really, really good bourbon. As not just for $65. In general, it's really good. It also happens to just be $65. So
I'm gonna try checking that out, because I don't drink bourbon myself, but whenever I'm making like a party and inviting people over, I try to like, have drinks that everyone's gonna want. Not everyone's gonna want my peaty whiskey.
Your Kalila, yeah.
Yeah. So I try, but I'm gonna try to remember Penelope's things.
Yeah. Also, Knob Creek and Bullet are great to try. Find your best, like, go-to $45 bourbon, mainly because you're going to go to a lot of bars. Well, I don't know if you go to a lot of bars, but when you go to bars, a lot of them are going to have a garbage selection. They're almost always going to have either like a Buffalo Trace, a Knob Creek, or a Bullet. And typically I'm getting Knob Creek or Bullet most places. Also, I guess you could try Woodford Reserve, which is not bad.
Have you ever tried Old Williamsburg?
No. I'll find some.
I'm not recommending it because I don't know bourbon, but I do know that that's like what 80-year-old Jews drink is like.
Okay. Old Williamsburg. I'll have to try it.
Yeah.
Hugo Itano says, whatever happened to the whiskey reviews? I just haven't done them in a while, and I need to. Like, I just don't think to do them. So I'll start them up again soon. Maybe I'll start with that bottle of Penelope, or I've got a couple other fresh bottles. I got this Deer Hammer whiskey. The hell else do I have? I don't know. I've got a couple things here. But yeah, I'll see if I can get back into those. CC says highly recommend Joe's show tonight. Fantastic debate. Oh, who were you debating?
Steve Gosney.
Oh, what were you guys debating?
We were debating capital punishment.
Oh yeah, because he's very firmly opposed to it.
He's very firmly opposed to it. And I was just trying to, he actually is writing 2 books to oppose it. And he's freaking out about DeSantis lowering Florida's standards for capital punishment to 8 to 4. I don't know if you heard about that, but he's very, very bothered by it, and he's actually feeling like a moral dilemma, like he's part of a corrupt system if he like participates in something that he thinks is so unjust.
I don't think that's going to uphold in the Supreme Court. I think they'll uphold a unanimous jury verdict for capital punishment, but maybe not.
There are 2 states, as far as I understand, there are 2 states which allow for 10 to 2, but 8 to 4 is really aggressive.
Right.
I can understand 10 to 2 because maybe you have a real monster and you have a juror there who basically is like, I'll never give the death penalty. I'll never give capital punishment. And I said in the voir dire that I would, but I just can't sign off on putting this person to death. So you don't want that person to uphold what everyone else thinks is appropriate. So I can understand 10 to 2. But 8 to 4 to me seems insane. That seems crazy.
Well, see, and has Steve considered this?
So that was another thing we were talking about, which is I am all for capital punishment. There's a case called Kennedy versus Louisiana, which says you can only give capital punishment if the person commits murder. And I was making the argument that is worse than murder. Because you're basically taking a purely innocent person and destroying their life, and their life expectancy is longer than most people who are going to get murdered. And you are destroying their life for your selfish, narcissistic, twisted behavior, and that is something you're destroying that person and so many people, and you can be doing it to countless people and get away with it. So I'm totally on board with saying that capital punishment for that is proper, and that's another law that he just passed. That's another law that DeSantis just passed, and that one I'm totally on board with. Even though that's going to have to go to the Supreme Court because DeSantis passed this law in Florida, and under the law that was laid down in 2008, that's unconstitutional. So it's going to be challenged, and it's going to go up to the Supreme Court. And the question is whether the Supreme Court is sufficiently based at this point in time to basically say, yeah, string them up.
And string them up to a lap machine so you can build those wings while we enact justice right there. You got to get that in there every time. Get those gains, ladies and gentlemen. You can take turns, you and your friend can split sets, right? You get your reps. Okay.
Just think about the ratings that could bring in. Oh my
gosh. Yeah, the strongman competition. String 4 of them up for me.
So good.
Let's see. Monk in Training says, as for Stormy Daniels and Semites, it's the producers, directors, not the talent. Shame she used to be a conservative. I mean, did she? Russell Hall says Boogie's gonna get his titties out on CamelCast. Yes, someone shared a picture. Boogie did fight milk or naked snake on CamelCast. So props to Boogie. Go for it.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on with Camelot on Saturday night. And I have no idea what I'm going to talk to him about. Like I can't even imagine. It doesn't matter. It's gonna be. You're saying it'll just be like a chill, like hangout.
Yeah, very, very cool chat. Like. You just start talking like, 2 people talking and get to wherever the subjects go.
Yeah.
You're going to do fight milk. Can you do fight milk?
Yeah, I think so.
It's eggs and milk together. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
So it's 2 raw eggs, about 5 ounces of milk. And it's technically 3 ounces of vodka, but usually, like an ounce or 2 of vodka is good.
All right.
So,
how does it taste?
It kind of tastes like creamy vodka.
Sounds like eggnog.
But you don't mix up the eggs. You leave those in their whole.
Oh, that must be funky going down.
Like a good girlfriend. So no, you basically just take it and you pour back, and the goal is to like you're supposed to chug it.
Chug it.
I'm bad at chugging things, but I'm getting better with the fight milk. And you chug it, and the vodka is the sting of the vodka is cut out almost entirely by the milk. So you're just kind of left with vodka flavor, milk consistency, and then the milk takes away the gooiness of the eggs. The only thing weird at first is when you actually swallow the egg yolk is a little, I'm like, that's not something you're used to normally,
right?
Unless you're AOC. You're used to swallowing gooey globs, but but then, once you get it down, it's like, oh, that wasn't bad at all.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's a lot of fun. Ghost of Recon says Tom gets views because people are trying to figure out if he has a booster chair behind the desk or not. He does. Matt says, how does the court see fighting words law? I think the only case that has ever upheld the doctrine of fighting words was when a preacher called a cop a damn fascist. That's it.
And that was in Canada, right?
No, it was here in the States.
Oh yeah.
It was in the States, and it was very obviously a court siding with a cop. Like that's the context of it. The guy denied that he said a damn fascist. He swore up and down that he just called him a fascist, not a damn fascist. And he was charged with saying words so vindictive and violent that the cop, like any other reasonable person, would have no choice but to retaliate with violence, right? Like that's the fighting words doctrine, is that the words are so inherently offensive that any reasonable person would be compelled to respond violently. And nothing else has passed the Supreme Court as far as fighting words, to my knowledge. No other.
I didn't even know about that one. How long ago was that?
Well, the 50s, and fighting words as a doctrine exists, but I don't think there are any statutes that actually survive constitutional scrutiny on the basis of fighting words, because they're almost always impermissibly vague or unconstitutionally broad. Because what is a fighting word is going to change from culture to culture, person to person. And now, with how diverse and how mobile the United States is, what could you possibly say is so universally? And by the way, the N word has been thrown out. So,
right.
Like the one word that
you would think might be considered
that might get there is the N word, and that one's been like, no, that's not it. And now people call people fascists all the time, and that's protected speech. So I cannot imagine any fighting word statute actually surviving strict scrutiny as it would require. But
we should try putting together a list of good potentials.
I'll just go out and start saying stuff to people, and we'll see who punches me. And I'll write one every time I get hit. I'll write that one down, go to the Supreme Court, be like, will you protect me? LXB says, Justin, the creator of the key card, is facing 110 years. This is such bull. Yeah, the guy who advertised the card is facing 42. The guy who created it, 110. Wow. 110 years. It's insane. John 3:16 says DOJ is suing Tennessee for banning trans therapy.
Yeah.
Montana banned it and threw out one of their representatives who tried to not ban it. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Get out, tranny.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Out of here,
wow.
Goober. I'm going to tell you, I'll save that for Rumble.
Yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah.
Ghost of Recon, can I get a toast for my good friend Shiloh and her husband? She has major health setback. She and her husband are wonderful people and great friends. Please wish her a speedy recovery. To Shiloh and her husband standing by her. Health setbacks obviously are always stressful, always trying, both on the person suffering them and the people around them supporting them. So big prayers and big wishes for her speedy recovery and for tenacity for her husband and their support network as they go through this. Cheers to them.
Amen.
High Plains Drifter says, thank you, Nick Rekieta. You rock, stud bolt. Oh, thank you. Kyan Rennell says, "Can I get a toast for Hydro PX as you just killed him?" Yeah, I
Here
guess.
lies Hydro PX.
Here we go. To Hydro PX, when you decide to like be cool or whatever, look me up, man. I don't hate you. I just hate what you've become. Cheers. USSJ for Broly. Oh, it's always weird when you switch whiskeys. USSJ for Broly says the moment I gifted his membership will forever be gold. Yes, it will.
He's a member?
Well, it was gifted to him. Yep.
That's hilarious.
Tara Rayner says, "Your urine tastes like asparagus." Limafau dying. I'm glad somebody heard that. I'm me. Thank you for the donation. Mandy Karavich says, "Joe had a jerky on the beach. Don't lie." Yeah, Joe. Want to fess up to that jerky on the beach?
You heard me tell this story.
I love this story.
I'm not telling it again.
No, I'm just saying I love the story.
I don't do the same bit twice.
It's one of my favorites. Tim Riggs, did you cover the story about my local county councilman, Republican Ryan Webb, who trolled hard by coming out as a lesbian biracial woman of color last week? Hit some of the national news now.
I
the
heard
council
about
meeting
this
was
guy.
hilarious.
I heard about this guy.
Oh, that sounds good.
It's basically like some white guy with a beard who basically said, "I'm transracial, transsexual, and I'm a black woman," and started demanding, and like he said, I'm fluid, and I expect to ultimately go back to being a white man, but right now I'm a black female, and he tied the left in knots with basically, well, what do we do?
What do you do? You must be lying. Whoa. Like very offensive, right? Like, how can you say that? Now, my favorite story recently was the guy, the male power lifter, just identified as a woman and crushed like every female powerlifting record
in Canada. That was right. Like he went.
I don't even know where it was. I just know that it happened, and it made me so happy. Because see, the problem with it, the inherent problem with the trans athlete argument, right,
is that women's sports doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, you have two subsets of people, right, that have to collide to create the actual controversy. Mm-hmm. But when they collide, when that Venn diagram overlaps, it's insane. But you have to have the top 1% of physical athlete, right? Mm-hmm. And then also overlap with the 1% of people or whatever who are transgender. Right. So then you get a male who's in peak physical condition they're in the top 1,000 men or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they transition into a woman. And that's when the blowouts occur, because I mean, the top 1% of female athletes in most sports will outdo an average man.
Right. And perhaps even an average athlete.
Right. And because I mean, men generally are faster than women, but the women 100-meter dash Olympians are still running.
They'll crush us.
They're running 11-second 100-meter dashes, which is faster than the overwhelming majority of men. Mm-hmm. Right. So that makes sense. But when you get that overlap and you get someone who is at the comparable fitness level, it becomes a laughing stock, because then all of the inherent, when all else is equal, training, time, investment, then the inherent advantages really manifest. And it's funny because we saw that with Leah Thomas, who is not anywhere near the top performer swimming in men.
I think ranked 570 in the world.
Right. Like that. But that's pretty fucking good.
Right.
Like
there you go.
that's huge to be.
Not anymore. Now number one.
Right. Then you just shortcut, bam, lay it on the table. Should have done it in women's soccer is where they should.
The is that if you think about it, like the whole allure towards being a social justice warrior is that it's a shortcut towards becoming popular. And so this is like the ultimate shortcut. It's like, what are you looking at me? Like, all of you're all doing the same thing. That's why you're saying I'm stunning and brave. That's why that's why you're saying I'm pretty. I mean, let's face it. Do you think the most ardent, hardcore leftist looks at Dylan Mulvaney and says that's genuinely a beautiful woman. It's like, no.
If they
They
do,
look
I
at-
want to baseball bat him in the face. Like,
You think they look at these orcas and basically say, "Oh yeah, your obesity is what makes you so beautiful." No, they obviously it's not like their brain actually gets put on hold. They just like, this is what I'm trained to say so that I
Yeah.
seem like I'm a good person. But they understand they and that's why. But this is a shortcut that, hey, if you just walk the walk, talk the talk, you are now someone who will be held in higher regard in society. So go for it. Why not? That's why all these kids sign up for it. And then they basically get out of college and they're like, I'm not really worried about being that popular.
right.
Is so like,
Yeah. All that
that's
stuff
stupid.
doesn't matter
Yeah.
after that. It's like, well, now I have to go join new social circles that literally don't care and actively discare about my social standing in high school.
That's why ESG is so corrupt, because it's looking to perpetuate that beyond college and basically say, okay, now we're going to have you, when you're working in the work environment, pledge your fealty to this lunacy. So people, I think too few people understand just how destructive ESG really is as far as impacting our overall culture. I was talking to a relative of mine who works for like a major financial company, and he was telling me, he's like, "Oh yeah, we got tons of all the DIE, the DEI crap."
Yeah.
And it's like it's all a matter of forming a culture. It's not Washington. Washington's reacting to the culture.
Yeah, exactly. And it's and the culture is being directed by very interested money.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, that's the scary thing about it. And we're all like, well, yeah, no, everybody just kind of believes. No, society's being shifted. Hand on the scale. Scott Woodford says, is Crowder a minimalist? I have no idea.
That's why he has one car.
Maybe. C says, watch Michael Malice's interview with Dave Landau. Shows how hypocritical Crowder was about the Daily Wire term sheet. Crowder's offer was way more restrictive. Tara Rayner says, I recommend crocheting for hydro and Google straitjacket patterns. Someone shitting his cornflakes. Wait for unedited Crowder video. The replies don't fit the conversation. In my opinion, there's a lot missing by design. Very possible. And we'll see. Bob Piffle says, can I get a double shot for no reason at all other than being alive, happy, healthy, and well? We do need to recognize and celebrate such thing. Joe, please join in on the happiness. I'm not going to do a double shot, but I will finish this one. So here we go. I don't need to be destroyed for the stream, but thank you, Bob. Let's see. Monk in Training says, by the way, recently got into cocktails. Recommend a whiskey for that. I like Buffalo Trace neat. If you're drinking whiskey cocktails, literally any whiskey. I mean, you don't need an expensive whiskey for an old fashioned. Just try old fashions with different, normal rail whiskeys until you find the one that you like. Is my suggestion. Because if you're dumping, a $35 shot of whiskey into an old fashioned, you're burning $35. Like, you're wasting your money. Don't do it. Slang and Nanner says Crowder's wife isn't a public figure. I can't figure why she even leaked the video other than out of spite. Also, Old Forester 1920 is superb. It is. Prohibition Old Forester is great. I like it a lot. Not too expensive either. C. Goody says, I heard Jew bread charges interest on carb loans. I think so. Probably. Perhaps. Joseph Fazio says trans people are shapeshifters, not Jewish people. Okay. Tara Rayner says, good going down. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Did you watch the other vid I shared of the guy with Tourette's? I was literally crying. I watched one of them that you sent with the guy with Tourette's. That was funny. Lord of the Kino says you should have on Lavloon, who was on whatever. Is that fat orca girl?
I don't know.
On the whatever
was
podcast?
Was that actually a girl? Or was that was a trans?
I think it was trans, but it was just giant.
Yeah, that was
That was good.
I saw Loner clipped you guys talking about that Jabba appearance.
I'm a certified baddie. Oh God, no. Oh,
First of all, that was the first time I had seen that clip where, like, as soon as the mouth opens, you're
yeah.
that was
Uh,
genius. I fell out of my I literally fell out of my chair. But there was a real insightful point that I'm not sure who made it on your show, which was that for the other like, replaceable
thoughts.
bots, that they brought in there, who are all thinking, yay, this is my chance to
That was
shine.
me. Yeah, that was me.
That was a great point. It's like, because they're so interchangeable with each other. I mean, let's face it, they're so utterly interchangeable with each other that it's like, now when you when you just have Jabba in there, you're not looking at anyone else but Jabba. I mean, it's basically Jabba and the host, and that's it. So it's like, wow, that's really stealing thunder.
Yeah, it's
and swallowing it.
Yep, just killed it. Ian Max says, thoughts on people in Times Square on loudspeakers for Eid calling out that Moses and Jesus were Muslims. Strange to see in New York City. I mean,
they're both dead like thousands. Jesus was 500 years before Muhammad.
Yeah,
and Moses was like 1500 years before that. But all right,
Jesus was old, almost young enough to be Muhammad's wife. Can I say that joke? Can I make that one?
Wow.
I don't even know.
Wow. So, right. Let me introduce you to a term called fatwa.
Oh, I don't even care.
But thank you. Yeah, this over here is Larry David. I don't know him.
They'll never. I mean, I'll get a fatwa for my Anna Kasparian picture before anything else.
I guess that's true.
That's the winner right there. Oh my gosh. Mark Freeman says, can I get a toast? Just got a promotion to my first ever management position at work. Finally getting to use my degree and start to move up the ladder. Cheers, Mark, to that. Man, it's great when you get to settle into what you wanted to do, what you study for, what you work for, and not just have your degree or your education be a notch on the wall of I did something that took a while.
Yes.
Right. So cheers to you in doing that. I hope it is insanely fruitful for you, brother.
Amen. Be a performer, not a compiler.
Francisco Linares says, Joe, tell me the secret already to Jewish money.
He sends me that super chat like 5 times a week. Yeah.
Angel Australia, Joe, fight milk. Think going down on Lizzo. No, it's nothing that bad. Dear God. Aisha Frazier says, is duck fighting words? And did you teach your kids? Yes. Duck is fighting words. And I did teach my kid to D-U-C-K. Justin Hose says, what's your thoughts on the Gen Z kids getting called out about being paid by the Democrat Party? They not understand how the flow of money works. I don't know anything about that story at all.
So Harry Sisson and I don't know, some other like tweener or 20-year-old, whatever. Basically, they on Twitter, they make these videos where they're constantly like screaming like really fast about some sort of policy that the DNC or how bad the GOP is or whatever. They're hardcore leftists, which have been given a bunch of speaking points by the DNC. And someone noticed that their email address is basically the PR group. You can reach them at the PR group for the DNC. And they claim, we're not paid. We're doing this on our own. We're not paid by the DNC. And they keep saying, we're not paid by the DNC. We're not paid by the DNC. We swear we've never gotten a dime from the DNC. And Viva's going to be going really hard after them, where he's like, do you not understand that this PR group got $200,000 from the DNC 5 months ago? So
I did. Okay. So I've seen the story, just not worded in the way that this guy worded it. Yeah. Yeah. There's like a couple like big Twitter accounts that promote DNC stuff. Very young guys, typically
screaming very close to the camera.
Yeah, like Brooklyn Dad was one of them, right? Like Brooklyn Dad, he wasn't a young.
He wasn't one of the young ones, yeah.
But he's on the list.
Yeah. There's like 15. That was another meme that went around when like 20 of them got together and they were all hanging out at some rally or whatever. But yeah, these two kids, are sitting there swearing, "We're not paid. I swear we're not paid." And it's like, but they just say who's not paying them, but they don't say who is paying them, which is kind of funny.
Right. Okay, there we go. That's it for YouTube. We need to get off this fucking platform. YouTube audience, thank you so much as always for joining me and Joe tonight. If you want to follow the rest of the stream, we'll be over on Rumble in about 20 seconds. So we'll see you over there. The link is in. Oh shit, the link is not in the description on YouTube. Let me add it real quick.
Make sure you like and subscribe here while you're here.
Full.
Just what else are you doing
on Rumble? Yeah, like and subscribe while you're here. Also, YouTube has been really dropping the axe on my subscribers, so that's been nice. Make sure you're subscribed here.
How much do you lose per day?
Oh, I mean, I've lost like 4,000 the past couple weeks.
Wow.
It's been brutal. But wow. I am growing on Rumble. I'm over 131,000 now over there, which is great.
That's amazing. That's so awesome.
So make sure you guys come check out the rest of the show over on Rumble. And if you haven't been to Rumble in a while, they just did a big update to their Android app. They've been doing updates to the web pretty consistently. The experience over there is getting better and better. So make sure you check it out. One last chat here on YouTube. Avocado Cookie says, Lavloon is a notorious TERF and FMR Destiny or former Destiny orbiter. Oh, okay. So not Gorlock the Destroyer, but someone else. Yeah, I mean, if I can find a way to get a hold of them, I would love to talk to them. So, all right, YouTube, we'll see you later. Rumble, here we come.
Goldspeed.
Peace.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen,